3, 2, 1. That's today.
Yeah.
March 21st.
March 21st, that's right.
And it's Friday!
It's Friday. You betcha.
I've been counting down.
Yeah.
Because I will be flying out and enjoy my vacation.
Where are you headed to, Vincent?
Yeah.
Where are you going?
I'm going to visit my parents.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And where's that?
And that will be Toronto, but I'm also taking them to a trip as well.
Oh, where are you guys going to go?
Possibly Florida, you know?
Oh, yeah.
All the old people went to Florida.
They call them, in Canada, they call them snowbirds.
Yeah.
All the Canadians that go down to Florida for the winter, from Ontario and from Quebec, in particular Quebec.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you get to Florida, don't be surprised if you hear a lot of French. There are whole towns in Florida that are empty in the summer. And then in the wintertime, they have French radio station, French newspapers.
Bonjour.
You can walk in. Bonjour.
All right.
And they know you're Canadian. They'll be.
Okay, we're not going to pick a French word for the keyword for today.
No.
What are we going to pick?
Oh, okay. So yesterday, the 20th, John Song came and he addressed the business community. And I'm familiar with these events. I've hosted these events. Like I've been an MC for one of them, and they don't always go according to script. And the business community, of course, has a lot of concerns about where things are going in Hong Kong.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the financial secretary got up yesterday and basically reiterated the budget.
Yep.
And then the Q&A comes out, and that's where you see. And of course, there are a lot of concerns, like we talked about a couple of days ago, the offsetting of long-term severance packages by the MPF.
Ramping up
taxes
of public servants' costs. Yes.
Ramping up public servants' costs.
Yeah.
Taxes are a long-standing, particularly the Hong Kong General Chamber has been saying, years ago under the Donald Tsang administration, they were promised a move to a 15% tax rate, and they're still kind of languishing at 17%, which they believe puts them in a competitive disadvantage to Singapore and other jurisdictions. So they're still, hammering away, hoping they're going to get that.
But you know what? I think there's one key issue.
What's that?
About the structural deficit.
Yeah.
That will definitely be the key issue of today.
Yeah, and it's people are talking about it, and it's we're gonna need to have some creative thinking on that.
Yeah.
Right, because John Song keeps sounding the warning bell, and a lot of people are like, oh, we got so much money in the bank, who cares, And I think this is going to be one of those things where, like 10, 15 years from now, if we don't do the right thing, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, John Song, I remember that guy. He was right. And by then, too little, too late. So I think he's right to be cautious.
But I think a structural deficit needs to be deal with it structurally.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to come with some structural reform in the economy, in the way we invest into new ventures and new projects. So it's not about saving. Saving is not creative.
Yeah.
I mean, financial discipline. Of course, we have to have financial discipline, but that won't solve the problem alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that won't solve the problem. You have to give up a lot of things in order to avoid a structural deficit.
Yeah.
People will hate you as well. The key is how to make the economy more competitive.
Yes.
How to bring in more new businesses to Hong Kong, new companies, new multinational corporations to set up headquarters in Hong Kong. New sectors for the young talents to join in and earn more money.
Of course, you've got to do all this. I think, but of course, the other thing you got to do is you got to get government out of certain businesses. One of the ideas that I've heard, if the government, the government talks about wanting to develop a bond market here, so they're doing the I-bonds again. But what if they, instead of just using cash to finance the big infrastructure projects, what if they said, let these infrastructure projects finance themselves? Have them be self-funded, have bonds, issued.
Well, we talk about Canada. Canada has that green bond. The green bond of developing green infrastructure. Like monorail and all that.
If the market wants to take it up and get that piece of infrastructure paid for, great. And then the government doesn't have to pay for it. And our deficit isn't such a problem.
It's not a matter of how much money we have in the government. When you can still issue green bond or public infrastructure bond just to test out the market.
Sure.
Yeah, so it is two separate issues. And also, like lowering corporate tax. I don't think the FS can say that because we may have a structural deficit, then we should not lower the corporate tax. I mean, by lowering the tax, you may have more multinational corporations to come in. So you bring in more money, and then they pay more corporate taxes. Even though the tax rate is lowered, but if you can bring in more companies and they earn more money here, then you still have more tax revenue.
Exactly.
So it's not a simple. It's never a simple math.
Yeah.
It's never simple math.
Yeah, so, but I would certainly err on the side of moving towards having projects finance themselves, more private sector participation, and those types of things. And then also, like you said, if we're going to broaden the tax base, don't do it by having more taxes on more. Have it by having lower taxes attracting.
One very clear example. Yeah. I mean the wine tax.
Yes. Oh,
the wine tax has been bringing in, I think, 90 million.
Yeah.
Almost 100 million to Hong Kong every year in the past.
Yeah.
But they give up the wine tax and see what happens.
Doubled the value of wine flowing through Hong Kong in 1 year. 1 year. Doubled.
1 year.
Yeah.
And the Bordeaux government, they come to Hong Kong to set up exhibition over there.
Yeah.
For the first time, the French.
Yeah.
Okay. We're coming to Hong Kong and do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They don't even go to the other part of Europe. They do it here.
And they come to Hong Kong.
And also the Chilean, the Australian, the New Zealand, the Americans.
They're all in. Yeah.
But all the wine producers.
They're
coming. I mean, they bring in revenue.
Yep.
So by giving up almost 100 million wine tax revenues, you earn much more. So it's not about having more taxes.
Right.
Sometimes by lowering tax rate or get rid of some of the taxes completely, you can have more revenues in the government. So I hope the FS can think broadly. And
I hope so.
People who think about the structural deficit also think broadly as well.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get more of that in the future.
All right. Deficit will be the key word, but look at it as an alarm.
Yeah.
Not as a threat.
You got it. All right. Hey, have a great trip to Canada.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.